Hi, I'm Gina Buell. I'm a sixth-generation restaurateur, and I've got a passion for food, service, and people. Join me while we explore the taste of Lake. Welcome to Taste of Lake. I'm Gina Buell. Today we're standing just outside Brownwood, the fastest growing town center in the Villages, and just on the outskirts on 466A is the best little barbecue place I've ever tasted. It's called Burkes BBQ. Let's go take a look. On today's Taste of Lake, we're heading to Fruitland Park, Florida, which is 25 miles north of Orlando and its very popular attractions. It's also just a bit over an hour from Florida's coastline. Fruitland Park is just a stone's throw away from the fastest growing metropolitan area in our country, the Villages. The Villages' newest community, Brownwood, is reminiscent of historical Florida cattle town, which is perfect for this week's restaurant destination, Burkes BBQ. So here we are at Burkes BBQ with Tim here. He's going to tell us a little bit about how he uses this awesome equipment. So tell me, what do we have here?
What we have here is a solid masonry, steel fronted, open pit. An open pit has air going in, feeding a fire, this being our firebox here. And I've got it prepped for tonight's cook. If you can see the wood already getting stacked, so it makes it easy for me. And then, of course, we place our meat on racks inside.
There we go.
Okay.
Wow.
And then we have a cooler side and a hotter side. This being the hotter
smells so
side.
good. This is the hotter side? This is the hotter side because it's closest to the fire,
closest
right?
to the fire.
Right.
But you've got a cone of heat, if you will, that comes off that firebox and goes to your exhaust.
So is there like a pattern that you have, that you've trained your employees for the meat, or is it just?
There is. We never cook our butts on high because even though you can't have barbecue without bark, too much bark is a bad thing. So we let the bark develop slow, so we'll use lower rack settings for the butts. The beef we typically sear on top for at least an hour, hour and a half to get a char on it. And then we'll bring it down and let it rest at a lower temperature for another 5 to 6 hours. So it's continuing to cook, but it's not cooking at that higher temperature.
Right, so you're getting it perfectly tender inside and caramelized outside.
Excellent. And with chicken, which is probably our number 3 seller, with our chickens, it depends on timing. You can cook chicken in here in an hour and 20 minutes, easy.
Wow.
But you can do a better job in an hour and 40 minutes, or an hour, or closer to 2 hours. The thing with smoked chicken is you want the juice to stay in the bird.
Right.
And if you cook it too fast, out it comes.
Gets dry, right?
Can be.
Well, it sounds to me like you've got a great system going on here. Now tell me about this one over here. I'm not going to even try and shut this door again either.
This is what we call a closed pit. And what works different between this pit and this pit is here we have that cone of heat I was telling you that remains fairly constant based on the amount of wood you're feeding the fire. Here, we're using coals, and we put the coals where we want the heat. If the hams are on that end, I may start it off all even, but the heat in this pit, instead of being everywhere, is only coming straight up. There is no exhaust on this pit. It is heat rises, so I put the coals where I want the heat. The beauty of this pit, though, think of it as a wood-fired oven. A wood-fired oven.
A huge wood-fired oven.
You hear people saying, "Oh, I cook my pizza in a wood-fired oven." Well, I could probably do a pizza over here in the middle, right up at the top. I could probably put me a sandstone rack in there and do a pizza really, really fast in there. But it's not designed for that. But the masonry being 12 inches thick and solid poured holds heat longer. So though I go through a lot of wood, I don't go through as much wood as I normally would. If this were just steel,
right.
the heat would be leaving it, but right now the concrete acts as a bank. It gives me that constant I'm looking for.
Right. Well, speaking of which, how much wood do you use in a week?
These racks right here are about 440 pounds. We will use in season, which we're kind of in season now. We're kind of in between two seasons. We're going through 2 of those a week. We could go through 3. In the slowest part of the heat of the summer, when everybody else is barbecuing in the backyard and nobody's going out to buy barbecue, I would say we probably go through 1.5. At peak season, we'll go through 3.5 racks a week. But all our meat's done in the pit on wood. We don't use brisket for the beef. We use shoulder clods, which to me has more consistent marbling throughout, whereas with a brisket you have your fat cap and then you have your flat.
Right.
Most people don't even realize that where the brisket comes from. It's on the toughest part of the cow. It's on the breastplate, shoulder plate. When you cook that, you have to cook it a certain way, but when you harvest it or cut the meat for the customer, you end up with a portion of the fat on top, a portion that's heavily marbled, and then you've got the piece that's very lean on bottom.
Right.
And the sheer number of people that look at that and go, he sold me half fat. It's like, well, that's
that's what it is.
That's where the flavor comes from. That's where that tenderizing process comes from, is that fat cap. To take it away, you take away the flavor and the ability to render the meat. With the beef shoulders, the shoulder clods, you've got a small layer of fat on the outside that we just trim off a little bit, and then it's heavily marbled. And you're cooking a roast that's 3.5 to 5 pounds.
Wow. Okay, so you've just told me a lot about the quality and how you cook. Would you say that that's the main difference between you and your competitors?
Yes, that would be, as far as the definition of barbecue, that would be a main set apart. There are very few of us what are called stick burners left. We burn off wood. The new type of barbecue that's not really barbecue, I call it bistro-Q. Everything is done in an oven or a gas-powered rotisserie with the application of liquid smoke or 1 or 2 pieces of wood, where I burn a rack in 2 days or 2.5 days. They can go through a whole day's cook with 1 little piece of wood. But that's not barbecue. If there's no bark, there's no barbecue.
I would tend to agree with that.
This is authentic barbecue, whereas that is meat cooked with the infusion of a little bit of wood and
a lot of liquid smoke.
It personally. I take it personally.
I can see that.
It takes effort to do what we do to keep authentic barbecue in the program. And everyone else says, barbecue. Well, you got no bark on it. You got no bark on it. It was done in an oven. Anybody can run an oven.
It's true.
Nobody can run a pit the first time right. You have to learn to do it.
You do.
Being quick serve, not unlike you would find with any of the burger chains, quick serve. You come up to the food, you order your counter, at the counter, you order your food, you pay for it, and then ding ding, number 16. Not quite like that. As you come through, you pick your sides. You look at the food, you sample the food. If you say, I want to try your potato salad, we give you a side of the potato salad, you taste it. If you like it, boom, it goes on. The amazing thing for me, and we had one while you guys were here doing your questionnaires earlier in the week, last week. A gentleman came up straight to the front of the house manager in my hearing where I heard it and said, you don't really cook in that thing, that's just for show, right? And that's one of those things that causes you to shake your head. Why would you go through this much effort to do something just for show? And so you take it with a sting and you move on.
You do. You smile and you say, no, sir, let me bring you out here and show you what we do.
We have done that. We have brought people out here and they stand there in amazement.
Absolutely. So you got a lot of people driving by. On this road is really busy.
And gonna get busy.
And gonna get busier. So I bet you got a lot of guests that just kind of walk in and are just amazed.
We do. We're slowly breaking down that cafeteria style persona that people attach to it. When they see a line of food, they think, how long has that been sitting there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, goodness. And what I try to explain to them is we use short pans, third pans. So the most I could feed out of one of those short pans is 10, 12 servings. So it can't be there very long.
Right.
And the meat is being held at 165 degrees. Well, 155 and 165, two different settings, depending on what it is, because I want them to have the greatest potential for the highest quality product I can give them, and I can't do that sitting in a line steam table setting. So we have a sham built into the line, so the product is right there. When I think when they see us grab it from there, they assume it was cooked there.
Right.
And they don't understand that that's a holding scenario. And certain parts of that education you cannot educate. You cannot.
You literally have to bring them all out.
Yeah, and that's what this experience right here is gonna be able to do. It's gonna be able to show people that there is a method to the madness, that there is a process, and that you actually can achieve quality food in a quick service format. That's my canned item there. The baked beans.
There were two canned items that we talked about. One was ketchup, the other one, this is it.
Yeah, because we tried to do the dry navy bean ourselves. I tried, and I could
only canned item.
I could not keep up with the demand for the beans, because when you run out, you just put them on to soak.
Yeah, they're not
4 hour, 5 hour soak.
Yeah, you've sold out. You have sold out.
So we pour some of their stuff off, and we have a mix that includes a little bit of onion, a little bit of bell pepper, some of our chopped smoked meat left over from the ribs the night before, and we chop that up, put that in there with a little bit more brown sugar because we poured some of theirs out. We got rid of some of their high fructose corn syrup, and got some of the preservatives out of it, and got as close back to what we wanted as
you could get to.
This is our meat prep area. We do all of our raw proteins in that corner right there. There's thaw sinks, because I do get 2 proteins that come in frozen. The beef always comes in frozen to me. I've never had the ability to get the beef fresh. Sometimes chicken comes to me, and I get fresh chicken, and I love fresh chicken. But sometimes they'll be out and they'll send me 5 cases of frozen. Well, you gotta thaw, because I need it today, not tomorrow.
Right. But I have to tell you that your kitchen is spotless.
Oh, I love a clean kitchen.
You gotta have a clean kitchen.
Oh.
You gotta have a clean, and I'm looking around, and my brother is our risk manager. He does all of our OSHA audits and stuff like that. He would be very happy in here because it is a spotless kitchen.
I appreciate that very much, because that adds to the payroll cost. It adds to the operating costs as a whole.
It does.
But it gives me a measure of personal satisfaction. I'm not ashamed of my kitchen.
Looking at how your kitchen is set up, to do all of the products that you do, it has to be an orchestra back here.
The orchestra that you talk about actually starts with a plan the day before, the morning before, really. To have that meat prepped and sitting ready to go as a matter of convenience when it's time to go on the pit. And then I have to kind of look at the day, and I have to look at historical numbers. I try to keep numbers on, well, why was the day before Super Bowl so bad? Why was the day after Easter so bad? Why was that day so good? And I try to look at those numbers and I go, hey, I remember this week. It was a good week. If the weather holds, I need extra this.
Right.
That comes about from a prep standpoint. You must be prepped and ready to go. Then it goes to the pit. And then we sell throughout the day. And I gotta tell you, I don't have a problem looking a customer in the eye and going, sold out.
You know, I don't think people really realize how much of what we do in this business is that detailed planning. Because they really don't, because you know, you really have, because you are dealing with a perishable product. You are dealing with a product that you want fresh every day. And I agree with you. If it's available all the time, guess what?
It's not fresh. It's not in the process.
Somewhere in the process it was frozen. Exactly. But the thing about it is having to be able to have those people and train those people that
rely
can get
on those people.
And absolutely rely on those people.
And really miss them when they're not here.
Like he was short 3 people one day, and it was really, but you know what? You knew what to do and you did it. Look at that.
Made with real sugar, no high fructose.
Oh my God, I am so excited. You don't see that anymore.
I'm Norma Burke, Tim Burke's wife. I've been the recipient of his food since we've been married. He does the cooking. Not that I can't cook, I'm just a smart enough woman to know that he will. We get to meet a lot of people from a lot of places all over the world. And that's really great. That's the best part.
Well, little Tim, I'm in 3rd grade homeschooled. I like ribs. That's pretty good, and the chicken nuggets.
This was the outside of the building here.
Okay.
We have a garage
And when did that
door up
change?
here, so we could do our wipe downs clean, pull this garage door down, lock it, and this was open porch, covered roof. You had this up here, but these 3 walls, that wall, and this wall did not exist. This was open to the outside. It was also open to 30-mile-an-hour winds,
Right.
40-degree weather,
Yeah.
and love bugs that just, that season never seemed to stop.
Yeah.
Being a 3-week fall season, it was a 7-week fall season. They just kept coming.
All this was a porch.
This was originally designed to have a vegetable market underneath here
Wow.
to sell fresh vegetables and convenience items out of the restaurant, as well as just having the restaurant, because true barbecue in the South is a barbecue stand that closes when it runs out of food. That does not work well in this area, where it would be totally commonplace and normal in, say, Coleman, Florida. People wanted to sit outside and couldn't because of the wind.
Right.
Wanted to sit outside and couldn't because of the bugs. And so there went the ability to have this as an open air market, and so that is no longer going to be there. It's just dining. But we didn't want to give rid of the picnic tables because we have a couple groups that they love the picnic tables for whatever. They want the ambiance of sitting at a picnic table, and as such,
Do you know what? The
I've been
picnic,
sliding them out of here. One every 2 months disappears, but
they want them back, huh? But you know what? They fit because you've got a very eclectic dining area. You spend a lot of money on your landscaping.
Well, that's what we did for so many years. I'm glad my son is not. I would love for him to farm, but I don't want him to be a commercial grower. It's too iffy.
It's too iffy.
It's one thing to fight regulation and high gas prices and fuel prices and input costs and the shortage of labor. It's entirely another one to fight the freezes, the hailstorms, and
That's very true.
And the water management districts for water.
That's very true.
In 20 years, I doubt there'll be very many nurseries left at all because the water shortage is going to wipe it out.
Well, that's scary.
Yep, sure is. We have a horseshoe pit up here for the folks.
Oh,
play
how
around
much
to eat.
fun!
Looks like I've got to reset the steak on this end. Somebody's done it. We also have 3 more behind the restaurant by the new pavilion over there.
Now, you have lived on this property
Since that would be about December 1965.
How many acres do you all own?
20
back
acres here. Dad's got his 100 acres over, which part of it abuts mine here, and then goes over behind Publix and back that, and then he's got a few more pieces that tie over to Michael Racetrack Road.
Okay.
We wanted it eclectic. We wanted it to have a farm stand look. I did not want it to be fine dining. I did not want it to be a hangout destination with loud music and eclectic band music setups. I wanted it to be temporal. I wanted it to be basic. I wanted it to be clean. I wanted it to be traditional.
Well, you have hit on all cylinders.
It's very quiet. We have people that come out, and we don't mind if they go sit out in the pavilion and read a book. It doesn't bother us in the slightest.
That's great. So you've got a pavilion back there. What's that back there?
What? Which?
Where you have all the farm equipment back there?
Well, that's the original office building that was built in 1975 for the nursery.
Really?
And it's just a wood frame cypress building with a couple of offices in it. And then the building next door was a packing house. We packed evergreen giant bibs and shipped them around the world. And that was where UPS would back up and pick up at right there. Had a cooler in there. That was started out as a starter house for seed production. And then we turned it into a little bit of a retail center, and then decided we didn't want to do retail.
And why'd you decide that?
Because I was up here, and no one, just like food, you've got to have a passion for retail, and we just couldn't see that being done correctly with me being here and nobody else taking a.
That's true. You're Tim's dad, right?
The old man.
You're the old man.
The old man.
So tell me, how did all of this get started?
Well, come July of this year, will be 50 years ago that I bought the property.
Really?
50 years
50
ago,
years.
Tim was born in July. So I bought the property and lived in Leesburg, unbeknowing that on the month he was born.
Wow.
So
You don't look,
50 years.
you do not look old enough to have that be 50 years. There is
Well,
no
I can't
way.
remember
There
how
is
old
no
I
way.
can't remember how old I am, so I'm not going to tell you all.
Well, tell me a little bit about what you all did here before it was this fabulous barbecue place.
We moved out here, and that was in '65. We moved here in '66, started a nursery, and the nursery went on until really it was closed down when the things went down years ago, and Tim tried to keep it going, and things bottomed on out. So anyway, so it's not a nursery anymore. And we lived in a mobile home for all those years until '82, and I built the big house over there. And of course, it's Tim's property now. The 20 acres is his. Yes. And I take care of things outside and do what I can for him, and he's the only child I have, and what else have I got? Without him,
Well, I tell you what, you got a fabulous barbecue place is what you got.
Without him, without him, I wouldn't have a job. Keeping up with things, making sure things are out, taken care of. Building this, building that, doing this, doing that. I didn't build it, but I mean, I had it built.
You had it built.
Yeah.
Well, you're just making sure that everything is going smooth, right?
Yeah. Down the road a year or two, when all this happened from across the road, Tim better get ready to go to work.
Oh yeah. Look at that. That's a lot of construction going on over there. My daughter has now taken over the show. So you're going to use these in the restaurant?
Some of them, but not many.
Really?
There's not enough here to run that restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
A 3-day period. We would normally get somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 to 500 pounds. That's a lot of blueberry cobbler.
That is a lot of blueberry. And I bet you guys make the best blueberry cobbler ever.
Oh, my mother-in-law,
any-
my wife's mama,
Uh-huh.
she makes a blueberry delight that you could eat your weight in it.
Okay. All right. So when are you going to be having that on the restaurant so I can come back? Tim, it was so nice meeting you.
Nice to meet
and
you.
I
Thank
look
you for
forward to
coming
having you. Well, it's my pleasure. I look forward to having you come taste some of our food over at Honest John's.
Absolutely. I'm a good food taster.
We're here at Burke's BBQ. We've just had a wonderful tour and met Tim and his father, and now this is the very best part. And I'm sitting here with my daughter Elena, aka Mouse, and she is the official macaroni and cheese taster. So we're gonna see what she thinks. What do you think?
I'm trying to.
How is it?
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm gonna try some too. It's really good. Really good. Okay, breathe.
First time was Saturday, and we had a pulled pork sandwich, and it was outstanding. I'll tell you, the pork was excellent. It was moist, and it was delicious, and I ate the whole thing.
And you're back today.
And I'm back again today for the chicken.
All right, well, that's it for this edition of Taste of Lake. Mouse and I are gonna finish our fantastic barbecue. And remember, get out there and get a taste of Lake. For more Taste of Lake, be sure to log on to visitlakeflorida.com to learn more about other great dining options in Lake County. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Taste of Lake. I know I did. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. And until next time, get out and get a taste of Lake. To find the best barbecue place. No, that doesn't work. Here we go again. Last time, it's gonna be perfect this time. Blah! It's called Burkes BBQ. I get to taste any of this stuff because I am starving now. Look at that. That's it for Taste of Lake. We have found another Blah. That's it for today's Taste of Lake. Mouse and I are just gonna finish our lunch, and there goes my phone. Okay, so, bleh.